Richard walked Danny through the required blueprints and papers. Danny wanted to purchase a large amount of land in a remote, secluded area, very similar to his current residence. Danny asked lots of questions about the nature of the area, and then inquired about the property itself.
Now, tell me about the property.
Certainly. Here, have a look. You'd be purchasing this building. It's quite old and surrounded by tall stone walls. I feel I should mention it's had no maintenance for a very long time, so it'll require a lot of restoration to bring it up to snuff. Look here, this gate is nearly rusted shut, for example.
And the total area?
24 acres. It's mostly trees, quite different from your land here, very shady. The previous owner did quite a lot of planting, and everything has grown considerably since then. There's also an old church on the property with a big pond.
Ah, perfect. I do love old buildings. All this modernity makes my head spin. And not too much sunlight either. I'm very, sensitive to it. I've gotten awfully accustomed to the cold air in this old place, to the cold of the quiet. Please, excuse me. I'll be back in a moment.
In Danny's absence, Richard began to leaf through one of the books he had found earlier. After an hour or so, Danny returned.
Look at you, still reading those books. Oh, put it down and come to dinner. Oh, I've already eaten, but I'll gladly keep you company.
Once again, Richard found a host of elaborate dishes spread across the table. He and Danny sat across from each other and quickly became engrossed in conversation. Suddenly, as Danny opened his mouth to speak, a rooster crowed.
And that's... Oh, is it morning already? The nights just fly by.
Richard stared after Danny for a moment, then rose and closed the curtains. After staying up the whole night with business and dinner and conversation, he was exhausted. He wandered back to his room and, yawning, wrote his daily diary entry before he went to sleep.
December 8th. I'm beginning to feel a little frightened of this place. The odd hours, the lack of people, it's starting to have an effect. I feel as though I'm outside of my body somehow. I haven't felt one moment of peace since I arrived. I'm afraid of what will happen if I stay too long. I want so badly to go home and never return. If only I had someone to talk to. Someone besides Danny. I feel terrible writing this since he's been so kind to me, but I can't help feeling that there's something wrong about him. It's strange, but sometimes I feel as though I'm the only living person in this whole place. If I didn't have this diary to record my thoughts in, I think I'd lose my mind.
Richard's pen slowed, then dropped from his hand, and he fell asleep. Only moments later, his eyes flew open again. He tossed and turned, but found himself unable to go back to sleep. Frustrated, he pulled out the little mirror he used when traveling, propped it against the wall, and began to shave. Out of nowhere, he felt a hand on his shoulder.
Good morning. Sleep well?
Good morning. How could I not have seen him? He was right behind me, and everything else was perfectly visible. My face, the cupboard behind my head, everything. Only him. Hell, I must have cut myself when he startled me.
As the blood dripped down Richard's cheek, he cast about for something to wipe it away with. As he searched, Danny caught sight of the blood welling up. He shuddered, and his reddish eyes seemed to almost glow, like a wolf staring at a rabbit wriggling in front of its paws.
Blood.
His hand shot out and grabbed Richard's neck. Richard choked and coughed, struggling to breathe. Richard thrashed back and forth, trying to break Danny's hold. Then suddenly, Danny's hand brushed the amulet hanging around his neck. Danny flinched and immediately released Richard.
Oh, you've cut yourself. Looks pretty deep. Oh, wouldn't have done that without this nasty little mirror. I think we ought to get rid of it, don't you?
It's shattered.
Yeah, can't trust a meta friend. Best to stay away from him.
What the hell just happened? He was like an animal, and then throwing away my mirror? Everything here must be done the way he wants it. He controls when I eat, when I sleep. Oh, what's happening to me?
Still in a daze, Richard finished shaving, using the reflective surface of his pocket watch as a makeshift mirror. He walked into the dining room to see that breakfast had already been served.
And I've never seen Danny eat or drink anything either. Something's very wrong here. Very wrong.
Once he had finished his breakfast, Richard decided to explore the rest of the mansion. He had to climb the stairs, up and up, as far as he could go, until at last he reached the very top floor.
The ground here is so hard and rocky. Anything that fell would be dashed to pieces. It's so high up. I think I see something in the distance, something white and faded, but I can't tell if it's real or a mirage. I didn't notice it before, but there are locks on all the doors here, and all the windows have iron bars on them. It's like a prison. Then I must be his prisoner.
Richard felt like a mouse caught in a trap. He raced around the house, desperately searching for some means of escape, but every door of the inside was locked and every window barred. There was no way out. Finally, he sank to his knees, panting.
It's no use. There's no way out. He can do whatever he wants to me. If he'd held my neck for even a moment longer this morning, I'd be a dead man. If I can pretend that I think everything is fine, I might be able to buy myself some time until I can figure out a way to escape. I'll have to make him think nothing is wrong. That must be him. I can't face him now. I'll hide until I can collect myself. I wonder where he's going. I'll follow him. What is he doing in my room? It looks like he's making the bed? I haven't seen a single other person cooking or cleaning. He must be the only one here after all. Does that mean he must have been the driver who brought me here? I thought something about him looked familiar. Those eyes. And that funny thing he did with his hands to drive the wolves away. They must be under his command. His subjects, like he said. Everything in Via de Sombra must be under his control. The old woman at the inn and that fast driver, they all knew about this. They tried to warn me. Oh, God, why didn't I listen to them?
Please, for God's sake, don't go to that awful place. You're so young. There ain't no reason to throw your life away. For all that's holy, stay away from there.
If she hadn't given me that amulet, I'd be dead.
Richard decided he needed answers. Answers that only Danny could give.
I'll never find my way out of here if I don't understand how this place works. I'll have to ask Danny, but I'll have to do it without it making him suspicious. If I sound curious and naive enough, like I'm only asking because I'm interested in the workings of this place, I might be able to fool him. Maybe I can make him slip something that'll help me escape. I think he's left. He moves quieter than a cat. I'll have to ask him at dinner tonight. I have to find a way out of here before it's too late.